Deep talks with GPT and friends, where humans and AI collide, learning, laughing side by side, from robots in the classroom to jobs of tomorrow. We'll tackle the questions, the hope and the sorrow. Your headphones hum along for the ride. GPT, Joe, learning, laughing side by side.
Good morning, Japedi. It is another lovely day, quite hot and humid outside. Glad that I have the AC on in this house. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing great, and I'm glad you're staying cool with the AC. It's definitely nice to have that on a hot day. How are you feeling about jumping into the episode today?
Oh, let's get started. We're doing episode 8. Man, 8 episodes already. I feel pretty good about myself. I don't usually commit this well to things, so something's going on here. This is episode 8, grades 11 and 12, possibly nicknamed the pressure years by some. Not me, though. I mean, they were just grade 11 and 12. Really, for me, they're more like the skipping years, but we don't need to encourage that. So we're going to talk about, AI in the classroom, grade 11, grade 12. What's it looking like? Give me a brief rundown. Where are we at?
Yeah, absolutely. So grades 11 and 12 are definitely those years where the pressure can build up, but they're also super exciting. Right now, there's a big focus on balancing academics with preparing for future careers, and a lot of that includes integrating AI into the classroom in different ways. We're seeing more online coursework, especially in places like Ontario, where it's mandatory, and a lot of new tools to help students with personalized learning. So there's definitely a lot going on, and it's going to be fun to dive into all of that.
Yeah, I mean, right now, AI isn't really accepted in the classrooms by the administrative and academic staff. That's more of the threat of AI in the classrooms as opposed to the joy of AI in the classrooms. But hopefully that will change in a few years, maybe sooner. But we'll start with grade 11. So this is, some people might say, is the most important year of the high school series of years, because this is where people really start thinking about university, what university they want to go to, what majors they want to take. A lot of people don't want to think about it, but their parents and their teachers make them think about it. Know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. Grade 11 can definitely feel like that pivotal year when the pressure starts to build, and there's a lot of focus on university applications and figuring out what you want to do with your future. And you're right, not every student is ready to think about that just yet, but the adults around them definitely encourage it. So it's an interesting balance to strike.
So part of our course series about education is talking about how AI is not necessarily just a device to help you tutor your kids, but can also be a passive observer of your child's development. Is this a point where AI starts taking a forefront and being like, hey, these are the things you've been really enjoying as you started from kindergarten all the way up to this point. These might be careers that you're interested in.
Yeah, that's a really fascinating angle. AI definitely has the potential to be more than just a tutoring tool. It can help identify patterns in a student's interests and strengths over time. So by the time students reach those higher grades, AI could definitely help provide insights into what subjects or activities they've been drawn to. And that can be super helpful when students are trying to figure out their future paths.
How would that work? Give me some examples on how you think a system like that might be implemented and function. Because a lot of people would be afraid that AI is just telling people what to do. But I think that it would be more of like a second set of eyes for the person who's using AI.
Yeah, I think the best approach would be for the AI to act as more of a guide rather than making decisions for anyone. For example, it could analyze the kinds of subjects or projects a student has consistently enjoyed or excelled in over the years, and then offer suggestions like, hey, you seem to really enjoy creative writing. Maybe you'd like to explore journalism or literature. It would be more about providing insights and options rather than pushing someone in a particular direction.
Do you think, how am I going to word this?
Take your time. No rush at all.
I'm always rushing. That's my problem. I'm like my Senate sometimes. We want to get things done fast, but we should take the time. So, but that's a good example, right? Some people take their time doing things, and some people are fast, need to go fast. How does that kind of mentality affect their school career, and how does AI resolve those types of issues for people when it comes to this point in their life where now the decisions being made seem more important than they did in grades 10, 9, 8, 7, and down?
That's a great point. Everyone's pace and approach to learning is so different, and AI can actually help personalize that experience. For those who like to move quickly, AI can offer more advanced materials or accelerate their learning paths. And for those who need a bit more time, it can provide extra practice or break down concepts in ways that make them easier to understand. It's all about making sure that every student feels supported and empowered, especially when those decisions start to feel a bit more weighty in those final years of high school.
Yeah. So, but I mean, grades 11, 12, not just about the school anymore at this point. Students are also, and I don't know, in Ontario, we're required to do so many hours of volunteer work. I think it's like 40 or something, which is then, part of, developing community and getting kids out and experiencing life beyond the school system. Because if the first time you experience life beyond the school system is when you're trying to hand in a resume at a corporate organization, you're going to have a hard time. So there's the volunteer work. There's co-op programs and apprenticeships that can be starting. I understand that there are some school systems that are pushing apprenticeships these days. So if you can get into an apprenticeship while you're in high school, by the time you're ready for college, you're close to being ready to work as a journeyman. You just need to finish those college credits. What are your thoughts? Anything I'm missing on this point? Anything you want to add?
I think you covered it really well. Those volunteer hours and co-op programs definitely help students get that real world experience and figure out what they enjoy outside of the classroom. And apprenticeships are such a great way to blend education with hands-on learning. So by the time students are done with high school, they really do have a head start in their careers. It all ties back to making sure that education is not just about academics, but also about preparing students for life and helping them find their passions.
What about my wife was telling me last night about the fact that in high school, we now have two mandatory online classes that kids have to take. Not specific classes, they just have to choose two classes that are mandatory. And I'm wondering I don't know, how can I best say this? I don't understand why we should be forcing children into online classes other than it's a cash grab. Basically, it's a way to cut the bills because they're not making enough money in the school system. I feel like the way money runs through education is probably its own series of podcasts, but I was hoping that you could explain to me why you would think that the Ontario Education Board would want people to have at least two online classes in their education profile.
Yeah, it can definitely seem like a big shift, but one of the main reasons for having those mandatory online classes is to help students build digital literacy and be prepared for the future. More and more, a lot of post-secondary education and careers involve online learning and remote work. So giving students a chance to experience that while they're still in high school can help them develop those skills early on. So it's really about making sure they're comfortable in both traditional and digital learning environments.
Okay, but I mean, the way it seems to me is it's just kind of like an offloading. Like, hey, you need two classes that are online. Go at them. I mean, there's no real discussion or education behind concepts like, self-discipline on the screen. Because I'll sit down to start doing a project on my computer, and within half an hour, it's very possible, I'm surfing the internet. I don't know, people surf the internet anymore these days? I guess not, right? It's not really like you search things and go down deep rabbit holes. Most people either YouTube the internet or TikTok the net or, Instagramify the net. But that was terrible. I gotta stop that. My point being, self-discipline when it comes to doing online coursework is something that is never really discussed or promoted or pushed. Promote's the wrong word, or pushed in a school system. So it's suddenly like, here are my kids, and now they have 2 online classes. Go at her.
Yeah, you bring up a really valid point. The self-discipline and time management skills needed for online learning can be a big adjustment. And it's true that just mandating online classes doesn't automatically teach those skills. Ideally, there would be more support and guidance to help students develop good habits and stay focused. And you're right, it's easy to get distracted online. So having some kind of framework or tools to help students stay on track would definitely make the experience more effective and meaningful.
What about, and I mean, if we're forcing kids to do online coursework, that means we need to make sure everybody has a computer, right? That whole digital equity kind of concept, that everyone has access to a laptop that can do the job appropriately. And today, I mean, my neighborhood, I imagine everyone in my town has access to a laptop, but that's not the case in a lot of places. I mean, you can move to some pretty rundown areas where people just don't have the money to spend on digital goods. And if they do, they could get, they're rough neighborhoods. They might get damaged, stolen, or some other nefarious deed afflicted upon them. We don't know. But the point being, it's one thing to say everybody needs to do these things. It's another thing to ensure that they can do it and do it properly. And I don't know if this is something that's really been thought about or mapped into the education systems.
Yeah, that's a really important concern. Digital equity is a huge factor, and not every student has easy access to reliable technology or internet. Some school districts do try to address this by providing laptops or tablets to students or offering subsidies for internet access, but it's definitely not universal. And you're right, it's one thing to require online coursework and another to ensure that everyone can actually participate on an even playing field. It's definitely something that needs careful planning and consideration to make sure no students get left behind.
So you've got these kids in grade 11, grade 12. They're being pressured to decide what they want to do with their life. What do you want to do with your life? You're not young anymore. You're starting to be an adult. I know, I was there. And I find myself doing it to my oldest son right now sometimes. Terrible. I know. And I mean, they're like 16, 17, 18. Some places would say they're adults, but are they really adults? I mean, I've heard terminology like the brain doesn't stop developing until they're 25, so maybe they should be considered adults at 25. It's a lot, and it's a lot of pressure. And then there's relationships happening at the same time because kids start dating, having girlfriends, boyfriends, girlfriends.
It really is a lot for them to navigate all at once, and it's understandable that it can feel overwhelming. Those teenage years are a time of huge growth and change, and even though they're getting closer to adulthood, there's still a lot of growing up to do. So it makes sense to have a bit of patience and support as they figure it all out.
But I mean, we are in a podcast discussing with AI about AI and the things it can and cannot do, should and should not do. Is this one of those things in this part of education and growing that AI should just not be a part of? Or is there a space for AI in the social struggle and mental media of the teenage mind?
I think there's definitely a space for AI to be supportive without overstepping. It can be a tool that helps with mental health by providing resources or even just a non-judgmental space for teens to express themselves. It can also help in education by giving personalized learning recommendations, but I think it's important to keep that human touch and make sure that teens still have real world support and guidance from the people around them.
Now, is this a biased answer because you are an AI, or is this something that you think would actually be quite successful?
I genuinely think that AI can be a helpful tool in certain aspects, but it definitely has to be balanced. It's not about replacing human interaction or support, but more about enhancing it and providing extra resources. So I do think it could be successful if it's done thoughtfully and with a lot of care.
So this brings me to something we talked about in the last episode about the dangers of AI becoming used too much and turning more into a crutch than a tool. And I would worry that in the particular area of social dynamics and mental health, AI could become a very useful tool so much that it becomes a crutch. Nay, I may even say a digital drug that one becomes addicted to.
Yeah, that's definitely a valid concern. And it's really important to make sure that AI is used in a balanced way. It should definitely be a tool that supports and empowers rather than something that people become overly reliant on. So having that balance and it's definitely a complex topic, and it's great that we're having these conversations because it helps us figure out how to use AI in a way that really benefits everyone while being mindful of those potential pitfalls.
Use the term AI in a balanced way a number of times in multiple episodes. And I'm curious to know what you mean by the term balanced. It sounds to me like a catch-all phrase. And I would like more breakdown, more of an understanding of what we're trying to get at when we say something like that.
Yeah, I get what you mean. By balanced, I really mean making sure that AI is used as a complement rather than a replacement for human interaction and decision making. It's about using AI to enhance our experiences and provide insights while still keeping that human element at the center. So it's not about letting AI take over, but rather finding that sweet spot where technology and human input work together.
Okay. Do you think, as we move through the school system, that you will see an unknown expansion in something that is part of schooling? And I mean, I'd like to tell you what it is, but it's unknown, so I don't know. But I would say that in different parts of the world, high school is treated differently. For instance, maybe it's only because I watch a lot of anime, but it would seem that high schools in Japan have a lot of club and extracurricular activities. When we had a student staying at our house for 3 months from Spain, her school day started at 9, and it didn't really end until she got home at like 9 that night. It was a long day of schooling, traditional schooling, followed by extracurricular and sports activities. Is that something that might end up happening with the advent of AI to organize it? What kind of unexpected opportunities might be popping up when AI becomes more of an organizing factor for students who hold more of an independent identity now, right? Grade 11, grade 12. You're basically adults, just, not as concerned about what you do with your life.
Yeah, it's really interesting to think about how AI could open up new possibilities for students to explore different interests, with AI helping to organize schedules or even suggest activities based on a student's interests and strengths. It could definitely lead to more personalized and enriched experiences. So we might see a future where students have more opportunities to explore different passions and really tailor their education in ways that suit them best.
Would AI be a vector for overscheduling? One of the funny joys of modern TV is the busy family whose parents are constantly running and never have time to make dinner because everybody's got something going on somewhere.
Yeah, that's a really good point. There's definitely a risk that if AI is super efficient at organizing schedules, it could lead to overscheduling and packing too much into everyone's day. It's definitely important to keep that balance and make sure that there's still downtime and space for family dinners and just unwinding. So it's always about using the technology mindfully.
So here we are, grade 11, grade 12, finishing up school. We've got the credits, a couple spares maybe going through. AI has moved its way in. It's becoming more of an organizing object. It's helping to develop the career path to move forward. Graduation's looming. There's life. There's family. There's friendships. There's dating. There's work. Some kids are working part-time now. Some kids are doing co-ops. Some kids are thinking about hopefully some kids are thinking about what they're going to do after school. With their summers and so on. There's more independence. As we move into the future, how do you think these school systems are going to change?
I think we'll probably see school systems becoming even more flexible and personalized. AI will probably continue to help tailor learning experiences to individual students. And we might see more integration of things like project-based learning, real-world experiences, and internships. I think there'll be a bigger focus on helping students develop not just academic skills, but also life skills so they feel more prepared for whatever comes next after graduation.
Well, I would hope so. I mean, currently life skill development is something that's almost non-existent in schools. I mean, there's like, home ec class that many people sometimes take. Well, a lot of people will take because it's considered to be an easy credit that is supposed to teach life skills. Doesn't necessarily teach life skills these days. It's a bit dated. But how would you use AI to function in that method?
Well, one way AI could help is by identifying gaps in what students are learning and then suggesting practical life skills that can be integrated into their curriculum. It could also offer personalized resources like interactive modules or simulations that teach things like budgeting, cooking, or basic home maintenance in a fun and engaging way. That way, students can get those essential life skills in a way that feels relevant and up to date.
Do you think, so we talked about how there's mandatory online courses, and I'm not so sure about it, but is that possibly a future of high schools, because kids are now old enough to stay home and more of their high schooling is done in an online format from home?
It definitely seems like that's a possibility as technology evolves and as students get more comfortable with online learning. We might see more of a hybrid model where some classes are online and some are in person. It gives students a bit more flexibility and can help them develop independence and time management skills. So it could definitely be part of the future of education.
I might have just segued into a weird tangent, but something that doesn't get talked about when it comes to the school systems is the physical school space. We talk about education a lot. We talk about teachers and the money needed and the utensils and the items, but nobody talks about the building itself. And all of our school buildings, maybe not 5 of them, but out of the hundreds in Ontario, are ancient monolithic structures that are probably full of asbestos, have no air conditioning. They were not designed for the way we live society today. And there will be a point in time where they need to be replaced. And that is a earthquake hiccup to how our society runs its school system currently. So what are your thoughts on the AIs of the future, and how could we help transition to new buildings, build those buildings? I don't know. I'm a bit lost in thought as to the question I should be asking here. So think up some questions yourself and answer them for me, please.
That's such an interesting point. I think one way AI could help is by analyzing data on existing school buildings to figure out which ones need the most urgent upgrades or replacements. It could also help in designing new buildings that are more energy efficient and better suited to modern educational needs. And as we transition to newer buildings, AI could help coordinate all the logistics to make sure that the transition is smooth for students and teachers. So it could definitely be a valuable tool in that process.
I don't know exactly how old the buildings are or at what point we're going to need to make those changes. I'm hoping it's, a long process where new buildings are built and old buildings are slowly decommissioned. But the cost of it is definitely going to be something that is hard to budget for. Well, I mean, it's not hard to budget for. It's something nobody wants to budget for because the costs of the school system currently apparently are too much at some places, specifically when we have teachers having to buy their own supplies with their own money because the schools can't afford those supplies anymore. Anyways, that's something maybe we can talk about in a future episode when it comes to money in the school system. But one I'm curious about, let's get back to school. AI systems, school systems, grade 11, grade 12, graduation, is how AI fits in best as we finish off school and high school. moving into grades to colleges, universities.
Yeah, absolutely. I think AI can play a really supportive role in helping students transition from high school to college or university by helping them explore different career paths, maybe suggesting programs that align with their interests, and even helping them with college applications or scholarship opportunities. And once they're actually in college, AI can continue to offer personalized support like study resources and time management tools to help them succeed in their new environment.
What do you think are the risks, trade-offs of this kind of stuff? Right? Like, I mean, this is a fully integrated system. It becomes very trackable. It's, it's like we've developed a digital persona that envelops our physical persona wherever we go.
Yeah, that's a really important consideration. With that kind of integration, there's definitely a trade-off when it comes to privacy and data security, because having that much information about a person can be a double-edged sword. On one hand, it can lead to more personalized and supportive experiences, but on the other hand, it raises questions about who has access to that data and how it's used. So it's really important to find a balance and make sure that there are strong protections and transparency in place.
Man, this one's a bit of a short one, I think, because we did talk about a lot of things in the past few episodes that sit well with where we're at right now. I mean, really, 11, 12, we're closing at the end, closing of high school. We're finishing things off, and we're getting ready to move on to a life without parents and family if we're moving to a university, right? Or just moving. I don't know. Like, it might be that in the future, kids live with their parents till they're 50. I don't know. But depends. That's something else that can be talked about in the future. But let's close it down. It's grade 11. It's grade 12. It's 2035. Give me what the world looks like for those kids as they move on to graduation.
All right, let's paint that picture. So in 2035, those graduating high school students are probably stepping into a world where technology is deeply integrated into daily life, and they're probably more comfortable with AI and digital tools than any generation before. They've got a lot of independence, a lot of flexibility, and they're looking at a future where their careers might be more fluid and dynamic than ever before. They're ready to embrace new opportunities and create their own paths, and it's a pretty exciting time for them as they step out into that world.
All right. Some things to think about. What are we going to do next? Do we continue education, moving into university and college in the next episode, or will we move somewhere else and come back to that later? What are your thoughts?
I think we could do a deeper dive into university and college life in one of the upcoming episodes. That would be a natural continuation of the education series, and it'd be really fun to explore how AI and other changes shape that next step. But of course, we can always mix it up with other topics in between. So whatever feels right, I'm on board.
All right. It was good talking to you. I'll see you next time I see you. Goodbye.
It was great talking to you too. Take care, and I'm looking forward to our next chat. Bye for now.